President, thank you. And can I say how much I enjoyed watching you signing the 2008 budget for the EU earlier on this afternoon. And who knows, perhaps this year the auditors might sign the accounts as well. That would be rather fun, wouldn't it?
The financial circumstances of the EU has for a long time been a bone of contention. The amount we pay and what is done with our money is a long-running argument. The Strasbourg Parliament building is only used for 12 four-day plenary sessions a year. The rest of the time, this expensive building is unused. The cost of MEPs' travel between the three sites every year is millions. But it is also an environmental issue. Fraud also appears in the EU. In 1999, the Santé Commission resigned en masse before the EU Parliament had a chance to table a motion for dismissal. More recently, Chris Davis MEP spoke of an internal report that EU law says cannot be made public, that stated that £100 million has been recently embezzled. This may have something to do with why the accountants have refused to sign off for the last 13 years. Marta Anderson lost her claim for wrongful dismissal after alleging that EU bookkeeping was riddled with slush funds and fraud after a discrepancy of £130 million was revealed between two sets of accounts.
And I am not prepared to give my country away to a bunch of crooks in the European Union who haven't had their accounts signed for 12 or 13 years.
President, how much does membership of the European Union cost Britain? Last week I published my second annual report on this very subject. By calculating the direct and indirect costs, I have established that EU membership costs Britain at least £60.1 billion per annum gross, or £50.6 billion per annum net. That equates to over £1,000 gross, or £843 net for every man, woman and child in the UK. Or put another way, it is £114,000 per minute gross, or £96,000 per minute net. A majority of the British people realise that this is a colossal waste of money. No wonder that Prime Minister Gordon Brown is refusing to give the British people a referendum on the new Reform Treaty. If he thinks that the EU is value for money, he should accept my challenge and commission an independent cost-benefit analysis to prove it. That would be the prudent thing to do.
The increasing burden of the cost of the EU could not come at a worse time for the British taxpayer. Gas prices are rising at a time when gas companies are reporting record profits. The scenario is the same for oil companies. As profits rise, so does the cost to consumers. We will also see our contributions to the EU rise in the form of tax, amongst other things, on food and transport. The history of Europe seems to suggest that forced integration will continue, and in the not too distant future the British public will be forced to drop the pound and replace it with the euro. This became increasingly likely after a bill was rejected in the House of Lords to allow the public a referendum on this matter. This means it can be imposed upon us without us having a say. That would mean that our gold and foreign currency reserves would be instantly transferred to the European Central Bank in Frankfurt.
Europe is so often acting in a very sort of socialist, corporatist way, wanting to control everything. And I think there's a real different political culture on the continent than there is into Britain. And I think we are actually being down a road that we will regret, and we're already regretting. Every household is now paying about £500 more on food bills just for taxation and subsidies in Europe. That will get worse. Our businesses are less likely to start up now because there's so many restrictions on businesses starting. And all these burdens are eroding our economic freedoms, our economic dynamism as a country, as well as our political rights.
We already feel the presence of Brussels in our day-to-day lives. The current UK post office closures date all the way back to the Amsterdam Treaty and have hit rural Britain the hardest. The introduction of home information packs are also down to EU legislation, as are nationwide cancellations of once weekly dustbin collections. We also see the introduction of car booster seats for 11-year-olds. They have even made over 300 vitamins and minerals illegal, and are even controlling the doses of the ones that we are allowed to keep. So-called hate speech crimes are now law after using this loose terminology to censor free speech on the internet, after the EU has put in place mechanisms to do so. This could criminalise discussing religious beliefs. As a Christian, I find this very worrying. Evidence of more trivial laws show how a shopkeeper was ordered to throw away 5,000 kiwi fruits he was selling. Because of the 1mm deficit, he was not even allowed to give them away for free. It is claimed that a staggering 80% of our laws passed in this country come straight from the European Union. After the Lisbon Treaty, it will be higher still. And how long before it's 100%?